Alright, so now that we've come to the front here, the canopy of the ship, we're going to be creating this in a little bit of a different way. And what we want to do is create something that will follow the back contour here where it's going to be attached to the fuselage, but then also give us enough room for the pilot and the co-pilot to have some space. Now I've taken the pilot and the co-pilot and moved them kind of down and forward. This would kind of represent as far forward and out as they could extend. Now in a finished version of this where I've got some rigging set up with some articulation and whatnot, these arms would actually stay attached to the cylinders up top, and then they would just extend forward. But that's not set up yet, so I've just got them moved down and forward so they're in roughly the right position and make sure I have enough space for them. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to start by just grabbing some of this geometry here, and really all we need is to extend off of this edge, and then we'll use that as kind of a jumping off platform for the canopy. So I've got an empty mesh layer right now called Canopy that's here inside of this version, and we're going to copy and paste stuff into there. So I'm going to start just with edge extend, and I'm going to pull this out maybe 200 millimeters. How to do it? Yep, something like that. And we'll loop select all that, and I'm just going to cut it out because we don't need it in here, and then we'll go up to Canopy and we'll paste that in. All right, and now from here what we're going to do is we're going to thicken this both inward and outward, and we're going to do this by doing a thicken and then follow that up with a bevel. So let's go ahead and maximize that 3D view so we can see this a little bit better. And I'm going to go up to the basic tab here, thicken, and we're just going to pull this up about 100 millimeters. Something like that. So this is going to have two components. It's going to have some metal frame and then a lot of thick glass. And the glass needs to be thick enough that it will, give the appearance of some real strength. But at the same time, I don't want it to be so thick that it just, looks odd. So let's start there. I think 100 millimeters is good to go there. And then on the inside, I'm going to loop select this. And now from here, we'll just do the bevel tool because we don't need to do anything more with these polygons. These just need to extend inward. So let's now bevel these guys in. Also go about 100 millimeters to do. And you'll see here that I've got a few little changes made to the interior. And since I've now got this part here worked out with the way that this is going to attach, I'm going to make just a little bit more of a tweak here where I'm going to take these two vertices and oops, didn't select the symmetrical one. That's okay. We'll pull those back in so they're just kind of tucked in. What I'm looking for is just like a little bit of a platform to go out underneath them, but as they're extended out here, their feet should be kind of over this so that they're getting more of a kind of panoramic view so they can see what's going on. And then let's see, I should have another vertex down here. Let's go down to the orthographic view, and there we go. So we'll grab that vertex, and we'll just pull those out. And again, we're just looking at this to kind of nest down inside there, and that should be totally fine. And then we'll go up to the top here, do the same kind of thing, except it looks like we're already fairly close. Let's just zoom out and back in here, and it looks like we may actually have this one already overlapping. I'm just going to pull this down so it doesn't overlap as far and gives us a little bit more of a lip in there. And I think that will work nice. We can always go in and iron that out more because this isn't going to be the finished version of the interior of the cockpit anyway, since we're really just working on the exterior. This is just to kind of give us an idea of the spacing. All right, so that works. Now let's hop back into our Canopy tab. So what I want to do is I basically want to take these polygons right here, and I want them to bridge down to these polygons right here, but they have to arc outward to do so. So in order to make this work, I've got to create some helper geometry for the bridge tool and do two separate bridge operations. Otherwise, we won't be able to get the right flow of the polygons, and we won't be able to get a good path for them. So what I'm going to do here is let's just go ahead and select these ones up here, and I'm going to copy them, and then I'm going to hide these ones and paste these in. All right, and now, while the other ones are hidden, I can take these ones and rotate them and then move them out here. And I'm going to put these right about eye level for the pilot and co-pilot. And then I'm going to flatten them out so we get a nice kind of straight line here. And then I'm going to flip them because they need to be facing up towards the other polygons, which I can press U and unhide. So now what we'll do is we'll be able to bridge from these polygons here down to these ones, and then from these ones, which will just end up being a strip of edges, down to this bottom section. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. So let's select these ones here, and then I'll run the bridge tool, and sometimes you'll get some kind of wackiness going on here if you're bridging across symmetry. So let's go ahead and undo that, turn off symmetry, and then run the bridge tool again. So we'll just click there, and we can see, there we go. If we reverse the direction, those are working correctly. And I want to go with a curve, so these kind of arc outward. And this is going to be subdivision surfaces, so I'm going for fairly low poly here to start. And that seems like that works pretty well. I'm going to turn off remove polygons so that I'm left with the polygons that are there attached to the frame, and also with these here, which I'll need in a moment. So let's go ahead then, and I'm going to select all of these, shift up arrow a couple times, and then press F to flip the direction of those polygons so that we've got those set. All right, and now we'll just continue here to do the same thing on here. So let's select all those, deselect the bottom or the parts in the back that are hanging out, and since I have symmetry off here, I make sure I get everything all the way across. That ought to work, and we'll go ahead and bridge that again. And there we go. So reverse direction being turned on was causing some issues there, but now that seems to be working pretty well. All right. And I think that ought to do it. Now, this does leave us with one problem here. So since I had left the polygons that were attached here, it's also leaving the polygons in the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and deselect all of these and then just cut those polygons out, because what I want to see here is that this section here, if I take it and cut and paste it back in, if I subdivide that, we should just see a nice even flow. And that's pretty much what we've got. That's working pretty much like I would expect it to. So that's good. So now we have that. But if we look here, you can see that that the polygons are really thick because we've bridged across this entire section here. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the push deformer. So we'll go deform and push, and then this is going to push everything kind of back in a little bit, and it's going to thin this out. So we're going at 200 millimeters across, which is pretty thick for glass. So by pushing this in, let's go down. I don't want to go too far because this is pushing from both directions. So let's see, I'm going to go down, I think 60 millimeters is pretty good. That's going to still leave me with 80 millimeter thick glass, which is pretty thick glass. Should definitely look bulletproof. All right, so that's going to work for there. Now what we'll need to do is attach these side pieces here. So just so things look a little bit cleaner, I'm just going to press Shift H to hide everything else, and then press O, and I'm going to make my inactive meshes invisible, and that gives me something a little bit easier to view here. So what I'm going to do here to fill this side out is I'm going to take these extra polygons here that were created as we created the actual sweep here for the front of the glass. Oops, and I got to turn symmetry back on. So let's get all these guys, these guys, these guys, and it looks like it did not auto-select my symmetry, so that's okay. So we'll take those and cut them out. So now I can just bridge edge to edge. So if I take these two polygons or these two edges here and run the bridge tool and click, I want to turn off auto connection because I kind of want to be left with an open space here where I can fill in with a polygon right there like that. That will give me a little bit more control over the surface. And since that didn't pick up the symmetry, let's go ahead and do that again over here. And we'll do that. And then we'll do the same thing, but on the inside. So top and bottom, bridge, select all of those edges by double clicking and press P. Same thing over here, bridge, double click, P. And now we actually have the basically the entire the entire section here made. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start bridging together the remaining pieces here. So let's go ahead and bridge, and this time I'm just going to use a single polygon bridge. So let's do that. I'm going to go down through here and bridge, and I'm just reattaching now the pieces that that should be attached after having removed these, but I never had the polygons down here, so I need to create some of these anyway. So let's do those, and then we'll go to the side. And since these are identical inner and outer shells, this is a pretty easy way to get these cleaned up. So let's go here, 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 and bridge, and there we go. Okay, so now we have pretty much everything set up. So I did notice that there were some problems with my symmetry. So what I'm going to do here, and you can see if you look real carefully, there is a little bit of kind of misalignment going on here. So what I'll do is I'm going to turn my symmetry off, and then I'm going to select everything on one half, Control X, get rid of all that stuff, and then I'm going to go to vertices and select all of these vertices down the middle, and then under vertex I'm going to go down and choose set position, and this will allow me to just zero these out. Alright, so now we shouldn't have any of the issues with our symmetry, which I will recreate, and now we've got this pretty much set. So let's press U to unhide what we've got. And now we're getting most of the way ready to actually have this completed. So what we need to do now is add in a little bit of faceting that will align with the kind of outer portions of the shell, and then we're going to add in our support bars that will give us the feeling of giving this more than just kind of one big arced piece of glass. All right, so we're going to go in here to our surface and set the subdivision level up to 4. And if you get that message that says that you're exceeding your current poly count limit, you can just click OK. I usually set that up to 10 million, but I had not reset it here on Modo 11. So let's go ahead and get these two. Shift W for my weight tool. I'm going to set it to 30%. I'll just click and add that. And then I'm also going to add in weights here and here. Oops, and of course now I've got my symmetry off. Let's go ahead and add those back in. Again, Shift W, click, and so now we're getting these kind of nice big chunks of geometry. And what I'm going to do, and oops, actually I take it back. Before I do that, I need to weight the back end here too, so that it attaches kind of firmly to the frame. What I'm going to do now is select these two edges, bevel them. And this is going to give me something where I can have an extra bar attached here. So I'm going to bevel out 60 millimeters should be fine. Now this does occasionally create some issues with my weight, so let's go ahead and reweight that. And now what I'm going to do is just select these polygons right down through here, and I'm going to copy them, hide what's there, paste, and now I'll take these ones and I will thicken them. So let's go ahead up to our basic, thicken, click, and this is going to be kind of a metal frame. Let's press U to unhide my glass that was behind it. And now if I zoom way in here, I should just be able to select the two edges that are peeling away, Shift W and click, and they will go back up and meet with the frame. Now I may need to make some minor little adjustments there, but I'm also going to sub-D the frame in a moment, so I'll wait until that's done in order to do that. So let's go down here, same thing, Shift W, click. Alright, so I've got those two pieces there, and I think I would kind of like to have maybe one extra bit of frame here. So let's take this here, and I'm just going to bevel this in. Let's make this one 80 millimeters, so it's a little bit thinner. And then I'm going to go back here and get this corner and this corner that now don't have the weight. Shift W to add the weight back in. And then I'm going to select this entire loop here. And I'm going to copy it, hide what's there, paste, and then we'll thicken these. So these will thicken straight out. And I don't want to go too far. I think 50 millimeters is probably all right. And then I'm going to unhide the other stuff. And then I'm just going to hide everything here for a moment because I've got some kind of odd edge issues. And I want to be able to just look straight down through the top view. And anywhere where I see these kind of bowed edges on things that are otherwise nice and sharp. All I have to do is go back in and add the sharpening, the edge weighting to those, and we should be in pretty good shape. All right, so just to make sure, I'm going to get these corner ones, make sure they do have the weight. They do. So let's press U to unhide everything else. And now I've got two pieces of frame on each side that will connect back into the back here. So again, we're going to go through now and actually subdivide this, hide everything else. And I think what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to select all of the loops going this way. So I'll just select through here on the side view, press L to get my loop, and then the open bracket key to invert my selection, and then I'm going to weight all of these edges. So basically I'm giving it back its polygonal structure for the most part, but I'm just getting a little bit of rounding. So now when I unhide this other stuff, I should be able to see this. Now there are going to be some other edges I might want to weight, so maybe right here and right here I'm going to add in the weight. And now I can go back about doing the little bit of cleanup work that I had been talking about previously with this section here. So what I may even want to do is actually just cut those polygons out and then grab this edge. Let's zoom way in on that. And I'm just going to pull that back and into the housing of the other piece. So we get some overlap, maybe down just a little bit. I think that works. And we'll do the same thing on the bottom here. So I'm going to take this polygon and cut it out. And sometimes just removing that polygon will fix the issue. But we're going to go down here and just double check. And it looks like we have a little bit hanging out. Yep, we do. So we'll just grab that move tool and just pull that back down into the housing. Oops, and then make sure we're up high enough to get that little bit of overlap. Now this one I don't really have to worry about because it is kind of sitting up against here anyway. But what I'm going to do is take these very back polygons here and cut those out. And then just grab the entire edge loop by double clicking on it. And just to make sure we have a nice amount of overlap, I'm just going to pull that right back into the rest of the frame. So there we go. I've got a nice clean looking bit here, and let's press O again, and I'm gonna bring back my existing meshes, and it's kind of had a feel of some kind of a little Nautilus-esque kind of forward end here, so I kind of liked going with the big bowed glass, and I think that's going to work pretty well. So now we have our canopy completed, and we're ready to move on and start actually putting in the panels on the hull of the ship, which is going to end up being, for the most part, our finished exterior of the ship. We'll then go back and we'll apply those same kind of techniques to the engines, and then we'll put in a few more details, and we'll have a ship that's all modeled and ready to go. Thanks, and I will see you in the next one.